You need to go home. Vault dwellers are an endangered species.
Hey, welcome to Dope Shows. Are you tired of finding new series movies to watch in 2024? If you are in the right place. Here are top 10 best new release series movies of 2024 so far. Let's get into the video. Number 10. Those About to Die. Roman epics nudge two sliders up and down on their dramatic mixing desk. The one that controls political machinations and the one that dispenses violence and debauchery. Go too far towards Claudius and the audience gets bored. Veer the other way and a different demographic will flush crimson and cover their eyes with a merry beard hardback. Those About to Die, a grand 10-part attempt to make ancient Rome as exciting as the fictional histories of Game of Thrones, hovers somewhere in the middle. It ends up as a fairly satisfying binge, not raucous enough to be a guilty pleasure, but not in enough control of its characters to be seriously good. Those About to Die is an epic historical drama television series developed by Robert Rodat. The series premiered on July 18, 2024, on Peacock with all 10 episodes, and internationally on Amazon Prime Video on July 19, 2024. Number 9. Sugar. It is a truth commonly acknowledged that neo-noir has been a tricky proposition ever since LA Confidential showed us its platonic ideal back in 1997. More than a quarter of a century later, the makers of Apple TV Plus' new contribution to the genre think they have found a way to mark its place in history. We'll come back to that, because I'm yet to reconcile my furious reaction to the narrative tactics employed therein. We begin simply enough. In Tokyo, hard-boiled private investigator John Sugar is in the process of rescuing, by means of street smarts and a reluctant but effective amount of violence, incurring minimal damage to his suit, the kidnapped offspring of a Yakuza boss. Upon receipt of the traditional brown envelope, he returns to the US and his boss, Ruby, informing her that he has illicitly picked up another job on the way. Sugar has been contacted by movie producer Jonathan Siegel to find his missing granddaughter, Olivia. Her father, Bernie, and half-brother, David, think she has gone on a bender after 2 years of sobriety. Would that things were so simple. Sugar is an American mystery drama television series created by Mark Protasevich with Fernando Meirelles directing 5 episodes and Adam Arkin directing 3 episodes. The series stars Colin Farrell, who also serves as executive producer. It premiered on Apple TV Plus on April 5, 2024. Number 8. 3 Body Problem. Well, hello again to Game of Thrones David, unfilmable books a speciality. Benioff and DB likewise. Weiss. This time they are on Netflix, with an adaptation of the hardest of hard sci-fi tomes, Liu Cixin's The 3 Body Problem, the first in a trilogy called Remembrance of Earth's Past. The 8-part series is named after the book as 3 Body Problem and opens with a truly harrowing scene of a Maoist struggle in which an eminent professor of physics, who has fallen foul of the Chinese cultural revolutionaries for teaching the principles of Western science, is beaten to death on stage in front of his wife, who denounces him as he is killed, while his appalled daughter and protege, Yuwenjia, watches in the audience. One of the timelines follows her as she is sent first to a forced labor camp in Inner Mongolia and then, when her astrophysicist skills are needed, to a mysterious scientific project on its outskirts. It won't be Netflix's answer to Game of Thrones, but Benioff, Weiss, and their collaborator Alexander Wu have undoubtedly proved yet again that there is no such thing as an unfilmable novel. Number 7. Dark Matter. I feel as if I've been living in a parallel universe since about 2016. Everything intangible we depend on, democracy, the rule of law, policing by trust, yada yada yada, is going terrifyingly wrong. Reality has become disorientating enough without the world of entertainment spinning me out into multiple universes too. But the multiverse is having a moment. What with the Marvel Cinematic Universe providing such fertile and lucrative ground for its heroes, and the Oscar-winning likes of Everything Everywhere All at Once or Constellation. I'll throw Netflix's 3 Body Problem in too, because a fictional past, present, and future Earth in the same storyline feels close enough. Now we have Blake Crouch's 9-part adaptation of his own book of the same name, Dark Matter. Physics professor Jason Dessen, hereafter known as Jason 1, is leading a quiet life, teaching then coming home each night to his loving wife, Daniela, and engaging teenage son Charlie. If there is a flicker behind his eyes when his friend and college contemporary Ryan wins a prestigious physics prize, well, we've all had moments of wondering about the road not taken, have we not? It turns out that if you're a physics genius, you don't have to wonder. You can find out. So it is that Jason 1 is kidnapped and drugged by Jason 2, Edgerton also, the version of himself that dedicated his life to science, became rich and famous, and secretly developed a way of hopping across universes to substitute himself for Jason one so he could enjoy all the blessings of family life and leave his other self apparently amnesiac in Jason 2's world. Alas, we viewers exist in a universe where the advice to writers that's popularly attributed to William Faulkner, "kill all your darlings," is largely ignored. Crouch has made a few improvements to character arcs and closed a few loopholes from his page-turner of a book, but he has also stretched a propulsive plot that kept the physics accessible to more than 9 hours that make you feel every minute. There is a lot of wheel spinning and longers that make you wish it was either a six-parter or perhaps a really good tight 4. 9 is a universe away from what it can bear. Number 6. The Walking Dead: The Ones Who Live. The spin-offs began in 2015 with Fear the Walking Dead. Many others, including anthology series and ones that focus on specific characters, have followed, but none has quite caught fire. A lot of hopes have been pinned on the reanimating force of Andrew Lincoln and Denai Gurira, who combine to form the nucleus of The Walking Dead: The Ones Who Live. The series begins 5 years after Rick was supposedly killed but secretly rescued cum kidnapped by the Civic Republic military, and covers, in slightly confusing flashback for anyone who dropped out early, what he has been up to since then. Mainly, it seems, trying to escape and get back to Michonne, chopping off his own hand and cauterizing it and burning zombie innards in the process, all to no avail. It is set after the conclusion of the original The Walking Dead series, with Lincoln, Gurira, and Pollyanna McIntosh reprising their roles, and is the 6th spin-off and overall 7th television series in the Walking Dead franchise. The Ones Who Live premiered on February 25, 2024, on AMC and AMC+. It has received generally positive reviews. Number 5. The Tattooist of Auschwitz. There is that word, that name, sitting there in the title, coming up before each ad break. Auschwitz. There had better be a good reason to invoke it. The Tattooist of Auschwitz is a drama that raises the question of whether fiction can ever be an appropriate response to the Holocaust. On this evidence, perhaps not. The series finds inspiration in Heather Morris' controversial, best-selling 2018 book of the same name. Morris wrote the debut novel after spending time with a Slovakian Holocaust survivor named Lali Sokolov, née Ludwig Eisenberg, who was a tattooist at Auschwitz II Birkenau. The Tattooist of Auschwitz is well-made, well-acted, well-intentioned, and grotesque. Number 4. The Gentleman. Not all mediums work the same way. Say what you will about the overall quality, Guy Ritchie's best work has a rhythm that fits film, whether it's the zippy pace of something like Snatch or the gut punch of his underrated Wrath of Man. From the minute I heard that his The Gentleman was going to be loosely adapted into a TV series for Netflix, I was concerned that his rhythm couldn't really be adapted to episodic television. By and large, I was right. To be fair, The Gentleman isn't a complete disaster as much as a stumble. There are some fun supporting performances and clever sequences, but they're surrounded by scenes that just feel way too long, as if you can sense Ritchie and his team treading water before they can get back to the fun stuff. The episodic nature of the show sometimes works in its favor because it allows those kind of quick, Ritchie-esque creative choices, but the overall season-long narrative sags and drags in a way that makes it difficult to care about what happens to anyone involved. By the end of the season, when Eddie has finally realized what the show made clear all along, that he's pretty good at this criminal empire thing, viewers will be asking themselves if what unfolded over the previous 8 hours wouldn't have just worked better as a traditional film sequel or spin-off. Eddie may learn that he fits in his new home. Too bad the show about him never really does. Whole season screened for review. On Netflix March 7th. Number 3. Ripley. Here he is, then. Every ounce of his talent, ineffable charm, and lightly reptilian hotness on display. Andrew Scott steps up to play Patricia Highsmith's titular antihero in Netflix's 8-part adaptation of the talented Mr. Ripley. Ripley is shot entirely in black and white, and the noir element is not soft-pedaled. Rainy nights abound. If there are puddles, we will see Ripley reflected in them. We hear every hiss and crackle of every cigarette, and watch every plume of smoke from those resting in, occasionally fateful, ashtrays. It looks, as we swan around Italy, utterly gorgeous. With those who find it initially slow, or the relentless monochrome beauty slightly exhausting or pretentious, I understand entirely. But stick with it. Allow yourself to yield to both and let Ripley seduce you. There is magic at work here. Ripley is on Netflix. Number 2. Fallout. Fallout is inspired by the hugely popular video game franchise of the same name. The TV series tells an original story but is set in the same milieu as the source material and retains many of its elements, including its retro-futuristic aesthetic. Much of the technology looks as though it might have been imagined by a 1950s sci-fi writer. Lisa Joy and Jonathan Nolan, the husband and wife team behind another science fiction TV blockbuster, Westworld, are among the makers of Fallout. Todd Howard, a senior executive at Bethesda Game Studios, the company behind the game, is on the producing team and has said that what happens in the series can be viewed as Fallout canon. The meandering plot doesn't really bear close scrutiny, but plot's not the most important thing here. There are a number of factors that make Fallout stand out. The large cast also includes Kyle MacLachlan, Zach Cherry, and Michael Emerson, and there are several entertaining cameos, those of Dale Dickey and Matt Berry being especially enjoyable. Viewers who love the games will relish the chance to discover new aspects of the Fallout universe. Those who've never played them will enjoy a vivid, brutal romp with flashes of absurdist comedy and set in an engrossing, richly detailed world. The finale makes plain the showrunners' desire to continue. Executive producers Joy and Nolan's last big sci-fi show, The Peripheral, was canned after one season, reportedly as a result of industry strikes. Westworld was canceled 4 seasons into a planned 6-season run. I think it'll be third time lucky. Fallout is both totally rad and an absolute blast. Number 1. Shogun. Shogun has been years in the making. It was first announced in 2018, and like Masters of the Air, it has been well worth the wait. This is lavish, demanding drama, to be approached with care and focus. It is largely in Japanese, partly in English, which stands in for Portuguese. At times, this is not as hard to follow as you might think. But it is not the kind of series you can watch in the background as you scroll on a second screen. Sit down, strap in, and pay close attention. Everything is just spot on with this series. I get that Americans aren't used to reading subtitles, but come on. So what if the series is mostly in Japanese? It's about an Englishman stuck in Japan in the 17th century. Why wouldn't it be in Japanese? The acting, staging, camera shots, editing, direction, everything is 10 out of 10. I rarely give a 10 after just 2 episodes, but this is an amazing series. I rarely give anything a 10. This is probably one of the best series I've seen the last 10 years. Mark my words, this'll get an Emmy for sure. If you haven't watched it, be sure to do. It's exciting, full of history, and just a gem to watch. Shogun reminds me of the heyday of epic 1990s cinema, as did Masters of the Air. Although a world apart in terms of setting and approach, they are, oddly, fitting bedfellows. This, too, is gorgeous television that looks as if it cost a fortune to make. Wise choices have been made, most obviously, that the audience can be trusted to handle a bilingual story. This seems like common sense in a globalized television landscape, but it is not hard to imagine that a modern version of Shogun could have been made entirely in English, which would have dented the intellect and power of the story. As it is, this great drama trusts its own composed pace. This makes for good-looking, self-assured, and often enthralling television. Thank you for joining us on this cinematic journey through the best releases of 2024. If you enjoyed this countdown, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and ring the notification bell so you never miss out on our latest movie updates.